welcome to Behind the Career, the show designed to get rid of all the confusing information online and instead see and hear from real people as they talk about their career and training experiences. We'll be taking you behind the scenes of industries that are usually hidden from the public. I'm Kyne Cooper.
And I'm Sophia O'Connell. Today we are focusing on the construction industry, and what better way than to show you all the options in this fast-paced and rewarding career than to take you on a tour of the most extensive development in Wagga Wagga's history.
The construction of the Wagga Base Hospital. Be sure to check out behindthecareer.com for even more resources and links to helpful information.
There'll be resources like Life Launcher, My Future and Job Outlook. Let's start laying the foundations now for your pathway into the construction industry and meet site foreman and all-round legend Tim Bradley.
The construction industry is focused on the construction, demolition, renovation, maintenance or repair of building and infrastructure. It covers a wide range of services, from planning and surveying to finishing services such as painting and decorating. Tim Bradley is the site manager for CPB, the principal contractor engaged to complete this new construction phase of the Wagga Base Hospital. And whilst Tim now has a lot of responsibilities in this top job, he started out at school like everyone else.
I left school when I was at 16. I think I went halfway through year 11. I decided that school wasn't for me, and probably had a little bit of help from my parents in deciding that school wasn't for me as well. I enjoyed doing everything but what I was supposed to be doing at school, I think. I enjoyed doing woodwork, metalwork, arts, all the creative things. Was pretty good at maths, didn't like much else. The teachers all tell me that I was intelligent but easily distracted. You get them all into position and just talk to the boys, let them know you've got to get them down and get the platform pulled out. Talk to Murray about it. Dad had a job offer to go and work in the Marshall Islands doing some building work, so I followed him over there and was his right-hand man over in the Marshall Islands. So that was my first job out of school, was working on a building that was sort of 50 metres from the water's edge and in the middle of the tropics, so it wasn't a bad way to get into the workforce, I suppose. He'll tell you today that I'm still his apprentice. You know, he's a builder, brothers are builders, his dad's a builder, his dad's brother is a builder, so I come from a family of builders, so being a third generation builder, I'm always going to be his apprentice no matter what's going on. But he said he's going to be back here next week, but he doesn't need to waterproof underneath the wall, so we can build the wall as soon as we get the detail, and then he can waterproof up the face of it after. So I'm a carpenter and joiner by trade. After I came back from the Marshall Islands, the company I was working for offered me a carpentry apprenticeship. Once I finished my apprenticeship, I went on and did Certificate 4 in residential construction, which was the pre-qualifier for the minimum requirement to obtain a builder's licence. Going to TAFE, you tend to learn a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily learn as part of your day-to-day job. It expands and touches on a lot of the things that building work's becoming more of a specialised sort of field where guys are particularly focusing on a particular area within the trade, not necessarily a broad brush approach to all the trade. Going to TAFE, you get exposure to a lot of things that you might not necessarily get exposure to throughout your day-to-day job.
Set out, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. What about that panel? Is that damaged? Is that panel damaged? It looks like there's just a mark on the front of it.
Yeah, we'll double check.
I did a bit of work throughout my apprenticeship doing houses, which was great work. I moved into the commercial arena, lucky enough to work on some landmark projects around the Sydney area. Done some 30-odd story towers in the city, which was great fun. Always a buzz working in the city. Once you get up high, you get some fantastic views of the city and the surrounding areas. Your office is overlooking the harbour. I was able to travel through my early 20s over to London and worked on a couple of Park Lane hotels amongst other buildings. So they're pretty good ones to have on the resume and good to talk about. Every job you do, there's always something new that you learn, be it a methodology or be it a material that you're putting into your build. So you need to understand how that material is best worked. And I think the government recognises that there's a shortage of skilled tradesmen coming through the ranks. I've certainly seen it with outgoing tradesmen. They all sort of say the same thing, that there's no young blokes coming in behind them to for them to pass their skills on to. It was probably the best move I made, was leaving school and taking up a trade.
But it's not all blood, sweat and tears for the site manager. Tim believes a balanced life means spending time with the people and the activities he loves.
I like riding dirt bikes, I like riding mountain bikes, I go water skiing, I go snowboarding, I do all those sorts of things. I don't surf anymore now that I live in Wagga, but that was always a favourite thing for me to do as well.
This is our first episode and I think it's going pretty well so far, Kyan.
Well, I certainly want to become a foreman or site manager, so I think it's working so far, Sophia. But there are so many more options out there when it comes to construction. Who else is on this job site?
Glad you asked. In this next segment, we will talk to a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, an engineer, and a construction worker that thankfully isn't another bloke.
Hang on, what are you saying? Is this a male-dominated industry, Sophia?
Yes, like in many industries, there can be an oversupply of testosterone. However, we meet a female who has taken on the role and absolutely loves it. So if you're a young female watching this and think it's not an industry for you, think again.
How's everything going? Good? No dramas?
No dramas.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's all,
Yeah, that's all right. Anyone annoying you? All right, all good. Righto, no worries, you too.
At school, I was a bit of a floater. I had multiple friends, a bit of a socialite, but I liked spending my time mostly in the library, just looking at YouTube clips, music videos in particular. I didn't struggle too much. I probably excelled a little bit more when I went out of high school and went into TAFE. I found my calling a little bit more so there, and I continued on to do my year 11 and 12, which I didn't think I was going to do. And after that, I moved up to Queensland and started my trades in construction.
Michaela completed her years 10 through to 12 whilst at TAFE, and also managed to complete her Certificate 2 in Business and Certificate 2 in Carpentry and Metal Engineering, as well as some short day courses in construction.
I pretty much learnt on the job. When I got into the industry, I started on duplex or townhouse buildings, residentials, and I just started as a hammer hand working for a local man. So I just learnt on the job, pretty much labour intensive. I was used to that, being from a rural background. And yeah, it just progressed. The ball just started rolling from there, and I've enjoyed it ever since. I don't really see myself leaving the construction industry. I enjoy what I do. I like the physical aspect of things. Instead of going to the gym and paying them for my membership, it's like coming to work and getting fit and getting paid for doing that. Construction is definitely a different route for someone that wants to get away from the generic female position. It's something that is adaptable. There's a lot more support now with females coming on board. There's a lot of programs out there that help young women to come into the workforce, and there's a lot more support with the men that do work in construction than there ever was before. If you feel like you want a challenge and you want to physically give yourself that push, then construction could be a draw card for you. It's great money, people are friendly, the hours are consistent, security's there, and it's a good wholesome feel. You really feel part of the team.
Connor is a fourth-year apprentice electrician, and at the moment is right in the middle of the internal construction phase of the Wagga Base Hospital.
Have we spoken to the joiner about coming to do that for us?
Yeah.
Okay, and when's he coming?
I liked school, hanging out with mates and that, every day, really. So I put my head down sort of towards the end of school, finished year 11 and 12, did a HSC, and then just decided I didn't want to go to uni. So yeah, went and applied for a few jobs as a sparky and yeah, got onto one. So, TAFE's good when you're a first year because it breaks up the week, do it once a week, every week, and then in your third year it drops down to once every fortnight. And now fourth year, I don't do TAFE anymore, but I've still got a test to sit. It's good. There's a lot of practical work at TAFE and a lot of the books, not so much, but the practical stuff's real fun and it teaches you what to do on the job and stuff. So. Going from school into being an electrician, there's a lot of maths involved with calculating different like size cables and different voltage drops and stuff, so maths helped a lot. Some things that you learn in school in maths you can't really apply and you can't see how you can apply it in real life situations, but the maths in terms of being an electrician, it's interesting to see how it all works. Not really 100% sure what I want to do yet. I'll definitely stick around with the company I'm at for a few years after I finish and just sort of see where I go from there.
Jack is a third-year apprentice, and after finishing school at Yanco Ag College decided to become a plumber. Luckily for him, he heard of a job through word of mouth and he hasn't looked back.
Yeah, so I'm going to TAFE to learn the trade at the moment, doing gas work. I pretty much cover everything, basically, from stormwater to putting in gas installations, water installations, just a bit of everything. Yeah, I found TAFE a lot more interesting to learn. You apply yourself a lot more than I did at school. So if you can get work experience during school, I wish I'd had done it when I was going through school. Definitely would have helped, getting to know blokes in the trade and learning a bit more.
Jesse comes from a long line of carpenters, and so he always knew he wanted to follow in his family's footsteps.
Yeah, so wasn't really interested in the school. I was sitting in the classroom, just the blackboard, whiteboard didn't interest me. I looked out the window, I wanted to be outside, doing stuff more hands-on. I got put in sort of a select class of all boys for 2 years, year 9 and 10. It was focused on more hands-on activities, get us out there, get us sort of ready for a trade. So we knew what to experience when we got out there and got onto a job site. Yeah, when you're in the classroom, you look at the blackboard and you go, oh, I'm never going to use that. And you come out on site and there's a few things you will learn, like will use. At school, they'd do Pythagoras on the board and thought I'd never use it. You come on site and just square up a triangle or square up a room. You'd use the 3, 4, 5 method and found out that doing it more hands-on, I learned it more. It stuck in your head a bit more than looking at it on a blackboard with a heap of numbers. So I left school, end of year 10. I started a pre-apprenticeship course. Got about 2 months into that. It was 3 days a week. Mondays and Fridays I was doing a day with a different builder. One of the builders ended up wanting to put me on. Apprenticeship's a big step, going from school to leaving, earning a bit of money and taking a bit more responsibility of yourself. You got to get a few bills, earning the money, but you got to pay your bills, buy your tools. Tools are the main thing. Going from school to TAFE was pretty different in a classroom with all boys doing the same trade as you. You're learning off each other, you're helping each other, you're learning different tricks of the trade. You all wanted to be the same thing. We all wanted to go out on our own, have our own business, do all that. So we all wanted to strive and be good at our trade. You usually spend the morning in the classroom till about lunchtime, and then you just learning all your general building things. And then after lunch, you usually come out and go up to the workshop where they were working on doing a few different cuts on a drop saw or hand saw, hand tools, making different bits and pieces. So I'm just about ready to go contracting for myself for this company, hoping to keep doing that for a while and keep on it. It's a good skill to have, use it for the rest of my life, good company to work for. It's a good trade to have, sort of everything, every aspect of life going to sort of need it. It comes in handy. I haven't thought about doing my licence yet, but see what happens later on. I might end up going out and doing it. So.
And with this newfound knowledge and skill set, what's his advice for anyone thinking of getting a trade under their belt?
If I was to give any advice to any young fellas or ladies at school, probably just sort of stick to your school until you can leave. Get out there, maybe do a bit of work experience with a few different builders. If you have a trade that you want to do, go out and do it, but if there's something else you're interested in, go and try it. There's plenty of trades out there.
Engineering managers plan, organise, direct, control and coordinate the engineering and technical operations of organisations. A bachelor degree in civil engineering is needed to work as a civil engineer. Some civil engineers complete postgraduate studies. Gary is the services manager on the Wagga Base Hospital and is managing 9 different trades on this project.
So this particular role is about end-to-end solutions. So we take it from design development through to a 2D, 3D design philosophy within the model, as you can see in the background model. And then from there we obviously develop that and deliver that on site within the program to deliver the milestones. I originally completed an instrumentation engineering degree in South Africa, and I worked on the steel mills as an apprentice and closed my trade up there and moved through different areas of trades and services, from BOC cryogenic gases through to sales and consumables for gases and welding, into the world of construction in Middle East, Dubai. And that's really where a lot of the construction philosophy took off for me. And we built things like Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world. I actually didn't finish high school. So basically at grade 10, I had an option to either go and work, because I was not studying very well, or go and do go to a technicon, basically like a a TAFE scenario, and I opted to try that. Yeah, I think a lot of people in the construction industry, they think that they can just walk in and command the dollars versus the experience. And my message is, grab every opportunity you can. I've been involved in airports in Dubai, tallest building in the world, fastest runway build in the world in Middle East. We did a runway in 80 days from start to finish, as an example, and that's under pressure with airports landing either side. It's about the ability to be adaptable and also have the right path approach on what you want to do, and don't be scared to take a challenge. Yes, it's big on you, but if you don't put the effort, you won't get the reward.
Wow, this looks great. What a job to work on.
Looks pretty exciting, that's for sure. But we did want to check in and let you know that if you want more information about a career path and it's not mentioned in enough detail during this show, you can search our resources online at behindthecareer.com.
What I like is that working on a job is great, but there is so much training on offer and ways to advance your personal development right through your career. Vocational learning ensures that these trainees and apprentices have all the skills they need before they rock up on their first day on the work site.
Let's wrap up with a bit of a recap from our site foreman, Tim.
I never looked back once I left school and pursued a trade. I basically, as soon as I finished my Certificate 4, that was pretty much the day that I stopped being a carpenter and I started being a manager. The bridge between finishing a trade and moving into more of a managerial role. The Certificate 4 course that I did was probably more geared around becoming a builder rather than a carpenter, and it was more about probably business management and equipping you with the skills to turn around and then run a business as a carpenter, builder, versus just becoming a carpenter working for someone else. There's lots of different elements that need to be pulled together to get the job done. So you've got to be able to negotiate, you've got to be able to appease people, you've got to be able to pump people up at times and make them feel like they can achieve what they need to achieve. I tend to get, before I hand a job over, I'll always go for a good walk right around the job and take it all in and stand back and be proud of what you've built and where you've got to. And you get a bit nostalgic just before you hand over. You want to be able to soak it all up and remember where you've come from and where you finished at.
That's all the time we have on this pilot episode of Behind the Career. If you'd like to find out more about a career in construction, go to behindthecareer.com.
If you would like more resources or have questions about a different career pathway, talk to your careers advisor or teacher about the many options available. Next time we will look at a career in the aged care sector.
Carer, nurse, chef, activities officer. There are so many options in this industry, and not all of these roles are the stereotypical ones you may expect. See you then.
Bye.